Coach, what are you most looking forward to today? Is it more so just allowing the fans to get closer to the team, or just some other things about today?
I think that energy will be good for us. We've gone through 3 practices now, no fans, no pads. So you're starting to feel training camp a little bit. So it's nice in this 4th day to change it up. I think we're going to have really good energy here from the players and the fans. And just personally at the players, we've now put in a good 4 days of installs. And so there's a lot of information at them, seeing which guys can retain the information and still play fast.
Where is Joe right now in terms of his physical progress 3 days in, running around?
Yeah, he looks really good, and it's on us to protect him through that process as well a little bit. So, there's times that we scale him back, just like Trey Hopkins, just like DJ Reader, all these guys. That's the plan in place. But Joe looks good and seems to feel really good.
Has he come to you with any concerns, or just the opposite, saying, I feel strong, don't hold me back, I want to go forward?
There's oftentimes I ask him, hey, do you want to do this? And he says yes. So then it's on us to know that he's usually going to say yes to a lot of things. So do our best to pull him back when we feel it's necessary, just like anybody coming off against him.
Are you guys going to today a scale back day?
Not this afternoon. We'll always monitor those guys during individuals, so don't read too much into that. That might be a receiver who's had 3 great days of work and we want to scale back a little bit, a DB who covers a lot of yardage over the course of practice. So there's a variety of reasons why in the early portion of practice you may see guys doing different things. But no, he'll be full go for all the 2 periods.
We saw him rotating with Allen. It seemed like Allen's getting the handoff rep shows and the pass rep shows. Is that part of kind of maybe some of that?
Yeah, there's just some stuff to take off his plate right now. So certain types of plays. If there's not a lot required of the quarterback other than handing the ball off, that's the time that sometimes we throw him out. But today he'll be full go on that stuff.
CJ, Trey Hopkins, guys like that are coming back from surgeries. They're at various stages, of it. Yeah. Do you monitor that almost? You have a plan, but do you monitor it day to day, and it might change?
Yeah, and each guy's different. A guy like CJ who's been in the system for a long time, right. and so if a guy like that needs some time down, you give it to him, you trust that, he's not going to miss a lot. Trey's still working in. Trey will start doing team reps next week, in the 11-on-11 stuff. So right now he's just easing back into the individuals. He's been doing all the walkthrough stuff, and then next week you'll see him full go.
So yesterday was just a day off for CJ, just to
Yep.
Have you thought about or considered ever giving Burrow a day off like that, or how do you balance that with something?
Yeah, absolutely. just early on starting, we gave him the walkthrough off this morning, just to get off his feet. So there's time you won't even see it oftentimes, but we've kind of had a plan for each different player and what they want and what's going to be best for their bodies.
You talked about trying to get it simulated with some rush. Did you at least get to see some of that yesterday, where he had to feel a little bit of it, move around a little bit?
Yeah, those that were there, I know some of you were there. I don't know who all was there, but there was a play where he had to move around quite a bit in the pocket, and I'm screaming trying to blow the play dead there after a while. But he does what he does. He's trying to extend the play in the red zone and go make a play, and I thought he looked really good doing it. It's just my job to limit that as those plays extend. Someone over here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did you think he was rusty, or did you think that the defense really played well?
Yeah, I think that the defense is doing a great job competing in the pass game right now. I didn't think from a detail standpoint, technique. We put in the red zone for the first time yesterday. I didn't think it was our best day as an offense. But again, sometimes that's kind of happened in my history with the red zone. Some of the details, you got to coach them up and watch it on the tape, and then go out there and make the improvements. We'll do some red zone stuff today. Hopefully, we'll be better at that. It's really on the unit as a whole. There's probably more incompletions than we want. But you also see the DBs and those linebackers really competing. Trey Waynes and T had that one in the corner of the end zone. It was a great throw, great shot at the catch, and Trey just got his hands between the ball and the receiver's hands and knocked out. So there's been some really good competition early on between the DBs and the receivers.
That seems to be the flip side of it. The offense struggled like that. The defense certainly didn't play like that at all last year, it seems.
Yeah, as the head coach, it's really encouraging. As the play call on offense, I want more success on offense. But really good competitiveness. These guys are ready to ramp it up next week and put on pads and change the pace a little bit.
How should we interpret how we're really offense?
However you want.
Well, no, I'm asking so that's a way of asking how do you think they did?
Yeah, I thought the defense won practice yesterday. There were some good plays by the offense. Some guys made some good plays, but I thought overall the defense was a little more on top of the details than the offense. And again, we got a lot of training camp to go, but yesterday that's our fault.
How much of an advantage did the defense have knowing if it's run or pass based on who the quarterback is?
Well, there's some passes we took them out to on some of the sneakers as well. So I don't know that they totally picked up on that because that was the first time they've done that. So yeah, but you put the pads on, and now you get a chance for them to really see a run coming. Your play actions are going to be much better. Your nakeds are going to be much better, and there's a true threat of the run with pads on. So again, it's just early in training camp.
Lou was talking about how during OTAs and minicamp he threw a lot at the defense mentally. You know, he installed everything, and then wanted to see how much retention there'd be now that they're starting to go back over. You said the retention's at a pretty high rate. Same for you offensively?
Same off. We've thrown a lot at them early. You know, that was kind of our philosophy this training camp is throw a bunch at them early, get it all installed, get a bunch of repos in, then circle back here in a week before this first preseason game and really go over the details one more time. So we had a really good third down walkthrough. You know, pressures. We saw a lot of pressures this morning. Defense did a great job. You kind of feel the veteranness of the defense at this point, I think. You know, there was a lot there today. You normally see that on a third down day. You really get a feel for what type of defense you have. These guys have all played a lot of football, you know, and so you look at those second or third year guys on our defense have now played a lot of ball. You look at the free agents we added, they played a lot of ball wherever they were at, and just on the offense side of it, you really felt that today. Their attention to detail, their disguises, they're doing a really nice job and making the offense really work.
It's early. What have you seen from Zac Taylor so far?
You know, you saw him make some plays yesterday. Again, one of those veteran guys has been in this league several years, been in a very similar system, so it's not foreign to him. So he's able to play fast. And it might not be the same name of the play that he's used to, but he can recognize the concept, say, okay, I know that concept. We ran it in St. Fran. And yesterday you saw him make two great catches. You know, the one on the shallow cross and the goal line, and then that far pylon route there. And that was a great job throwing him open there by, I think it was Brandon. And then he went and made a great toe-tap play in the back end zone. So he's done a nice job. He's really detailed.
Coach, a lot's been made about the camaraderie of the team. A lot of guys said this team feels really close.
Yeah.
Talk about your coaching staff. You have a few new guys on the staff and how you guys have come together and gelled.
Those guys have really fit in early on. You know, on offense, talking about Frank and Justin, just two quality people that just want to help you win. And so they've come in and just been great throughout the process. On defense, Marion, you know, he's been outstanding. Getting these guys, got a lot of new pieces there. I think he's doing a good job blending them all in and really owning that room. And then you got Louis Chofi, you know, who we added, who's been fun to be around too. I'm not missing anybody there, am I? So, you know, it is some really quality people that we've added there who are really helping our staff.
How does Joe react after a practice where the defense, as you put it, won?
I think right now we certainly strive for perfection, but we also know we don't have everything in. You know, so there's some plays you're going to run into some tough looks. Where right now we have not provided that answer, and that's just be detailed with the play, what we're asking you to do, in the run or the pass. It might not always look pretty early in training camp, but we've got a lot more installed to come where now we can complement everything and keep the defense on their heels a little bit more and be able to check out of that play maybe. You know, where there's plenty of times I just tell Joe, hey, call and run it. Call and run it. It might not be the best, but we just want to get it on tape and get it coached up. And there's some of that happens on the defense side of the ball as well. You know, so again, we have 47 days, I think, from our first day of practice to the first game. We're only 3 practices in, so we got a ways to go.
How comfortable has he been on the knee so far, you think?
I think he looks good. I mean, I don't, other than the scar, I don't see it. You know, he might tell you otherwise. I don't know. But just out there watching him, he looks like he's moving around pretty good.
Do you have any updates on Coach Jordan?
No updates. You know, he won't practice today. You know, so we'll give him the off day and reevaluate it early next week, see where he's at.
It seems like every pass is being contested. It seems like every pass is being contested. You were talking about how you couldn't wait to see Wayne's. What about those 3 guys?
Yeah, I think that's what really shows up. They're contesting a lot of balls. Not just the ones, but the twos are in great position. They might not always make a play on the ball, but they're in good position to make it a contested catch. We got a lot of big receivers too, you know, so that's a problem for the DBs trying to play through these big receivers, the Auden Tates of the world, and those guys, and T. And so again, I've been really pleased with the secondary through 3 days. I think that again, the veteranness has showed up in that group. I think guys have taken the next step. I think Darius has looked sharp early on, coming off of injury. So again, it's a good group, and I'm encouraged by them right now.
Wayne's has advertised?
Yeah, Wayne's has done a really good job. You just see the experience in this play, looking at splits, looking at route details. He does a really good job understanding what's coming at him.
Do referring to the old axiom that given all things being equal, defense is usually ahead of offense in the early stages of camp?
Yeah, I hate to admit that.
Yeah, which we can react to the defense basically, right? You know,
sure. You know, but there's some things you can throw at them that put them in a tough spot as well. But I think just overall, it's really encouraging from what you see from the defense early on. That's something to be excited about.
What have you liked from what you've seen from Brandon Allen so far? It seemed like he had a really good day yesterday.
Yeah, so, okay, think about Brandon Allen. We signed him in August as our COVID quarterback. He took no snaps. He took like 30 feet away from everybody else. And then really the first rep he ever took was he took 4 skelly reps during the bye week because Ryan Finley had a little situation. So we got 4 reps, and then he started playing a couple weeks later. He started in game like 2 weeks later. And so he didn't really throw a ball to a real player on our team from August till late October, and then went and started NFL games and played pretty well, you know, for what we asked him to do. I think he was the FedEx Player of the Week, you know, in week 16 or whatever it was. That's really impressive. So now what you guys are saying is kind of what I always seen from Brandon, a guy who, when he's in the rhythm, the reps, he really understands the system, the timing, understands his receivers, and can really do a great job as a number 2 quarterback in this league. And so I'm not surprised from what I've seen from Brandon. You guys are kind of seeing what I've always been exposed to. And again, just a veteran quarterback who's doing a nice job leading those groups.
Is there any interest in your part to get him more reps with the ones just so they get him and he gets them?
You know, that's probably going to happen in the preseason games. You know, as we still formulate the plan for Joe, he's going to get a lot of that work. And there may be a day coming up in the next week or so where we do more of that, as you mentioned. But I'm not concerned about that. He throws these receivers and routes on air and group install and all that stuff, so he gets those reps. And really, aside from just taking snaps from the center who will be taking the snaps to the ones, there's not a lot of differences there for the guys up front and him.
About Taylor, a little 5'8" dynamo. What has he shown you?
Who's that?
A little 5'8" receiver, 11.
You talking about Trent Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor.
Yeah. Again, he's done a nice job. You must have been asleep earlier when that question got asked, but he's done a nice job. You know, I think he's been in the system before, so a lot of it sounds similar to him, and it has allowed him to play fast because he's done a lot of these concepts before. But again, 2 great catches yesterday. That was impressive. I think that receiver room as a whole is pretty deep, pretty detailed. Troy and Brad have done a great job with those guys, but credit to the receivers. They're pretty locked in. There's a lot of competition in the room. No one wants to get left behind, and there's very few mental errors from that group.
How tough is it to strike the balance? I mean, you guys have all talked about the big hole last year was the deep ball. You don't want to run these guys into the ground and picking the spots when to work on deep balls.
Yeah, it's especially day 3 and 4 of this camp. That's kind of what's on my mind. You know, it's getting a lot of good work done, getting us to this off day, and then really starting real training camp on Monday, where we put pads on and we're more in those 3-day bursts. So you'll see not as much of it today. Starting next week, we get a chance to really get those guys back fresh and emphasize some of those downfield shots.
That's on Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yep.
How will what you do in the stadium replicate what you've done outside? Pretty much exactly the same? Or?
Yeah, similar. Yeah, similar. Again, 4th day in a row, so we're trying to. That's why we got some red zone work going in today to try to limit the yardage from some of these guys. But it's very similar from what you'll see. Practice will get longer next week. You know, this is just our phase into training camp, really. So practice will be extended, you know, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour once we get off this off day and really get going. So this is just kind of the ramp up phase to that.
1 more minute.
So that would be more one-on-ones with receivers, DBs, one-on-one pass rush, more team periods. Some of that stuff is what we're not doing right now.
So you go for about 200, so you go for about 200.
I pay less attention to the overall time and more to the periods, but we go for longer. I could not even tell you what we go right now, so I just follow the periods and then we leave the field.
So you go 4 straight days, plus conditioning. There's conditioning and 4 straight workouts, so this is probably the longest stretch without a break.
It is the longest stretch. You know, we only go 3-day bursts after that, just like we would go in a game week leading up to, you know, normal week. We'd play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, walk through Saturday, play on Sunday. That is really the schedule that we emulate, starting on Sunday with the day off. Starting on Monday, we do 3-day bursts leading up to all these games.
So what is your message to them for the off day? Just get away from completely rest the body, rest the mind, or do you want them to kind of maybe stay sharp?
They got to stay sharp. There's no doubt about it. You can get off your feet and still stay sharp. You know, you got all the film on the iPad. Watch all your reps. You should watch every rep that we had for 4 days. You know, you should spend 2 hours laying in your hotel bed doing that stuff, which I anticipate a lot of them will do. But yeah, get off your feet, get hydrated, and just get your legs back underneath you for the next 3-day burst that we have.
Booker Williams is doing some wide receiver stuff. Was that the plan all along, or did you see him in OTAs and think maybe this is the way to get the most out?
I think you're trying to find the best role for him. So early on, you teach him the running back stuff, so it's familiar to him. Then you transition him to the receiver, which there's a little bit more involved there to see how he can handle that. And then you've exposed him to a little bit of both. So now as we get here in training camp, we get a chance to see how do you utilize him. He's obviously in that punt return battle. That's a big part of what he does. And then we go from there, to what the best plan of action is. Right now, we're just throwing the whole offense in at every player. As we get it in, then you start specializing more of the offense to certain players and their skill sets. We haven't really done a lot of that yet.